Today on Capitol Conservatives, we cover a fiery Judiciary Committee exchange. Senator John Kennedy pressed witnesses Rivera and Dennard on abortion, one of America's most polarizing issues. Kennedy demanded straight answers on abortion restrictions, leaving many in the audience shocked. Stay tuned, this is one you don't want to miss. Senator Kennedy's blunt style was on full display. He asked Rivera directly, if you were queen for a day, what abortion restrictions would you set? Rivera leaned on medical standards, rejecting arbitrary limits. Kennedy pressed, no restrictions at all? Rivera stood firm. Abortion care should be guided by medicine, not law.
Mr. Chairman, Ms. Rivera, if you were queen for a day and you had unfettered discretion to establish a national rule on abortion for America, what restrictions, if any, would you implement with respect to abortion?
Thank you for your question, Senator. I would, so the American College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists opposed restrictions that are not based in medicine, right? People need to be able to make their own reproductive health care decisions, and having arbitrary restrictions lead to the situations like we've been hearing about, like Kate Cox and others who are not able to get the health care they need during obstetric emergencies. We know the majority of people access abortion services early.
Maybe I wasn't clear, because I've got to ask each of our witnesses here. Just tell me, if you could implement any rule, what restrictions, if any, you would put on abortion.
Senator, arbitrary restrictions put women's health in danger.
So that means no restrictions?
Senator, healthcare needs to be driven by medical practice and medical standards of care.
You don't believe in any restrictions on abortion?
Healthcare needs to be driven by medical standards of care.
Well, your website says you support abortions at all gestations. So
that is correct, because
you support abortion
needs
without
to be made
any
available
restrictions
based on medical standards of care.
Kennedy turned up the heat, asking, what about a healthy mother and baby the day before birth? Rivera called the scenario misleading, insisting that's not how abortion care works. The clash became explosive. Kennedy insisted on mother, while Rivera defended using birthing person.
How about, could you get it, if the mother's healthy and the baby's healthy, would you support an abortion the day before birth?
Actually, that is not how abortion care works,
Yes, ma'am, but would you support that? You say no restrictions.
That is called labor and delivery, Senator.
But you support no restrictions.
That is not how abortion care works, and it's
Sure
really,
it does.
That is not how abortion
my question's
care
simple.
works, Senator.
Would you have a rule saying that if a healthy mother with a healthy baby wanted to have an abortion the day before birth, would it be okay with you?
Senator, that is not how abortion care works, and it's really dangerous. That rhetoric is really dangerous for the people who are confronting
It would be
these
okay with you, wouldn't it?
That is called labor and delivery, sir.
It would be okay with
That
you,
is called
wouldn't it?
labor and delivery, sir.
I find that astonishing.
Senator,
I noticed
that is really
on your
offensive.
website,
that is really offensive
You
to
issued
the
a
people
press
needing
release.
to access
You don't
abortion
refer to
care.
mothers. You say at your organization, you don't refer to mothers. You call them birthing people, is that right?
That is among the language that we use,
Yeah,
yes.
what's the difference?
A birthing person is someone who's in labor and delivery.
Okay, that's a mother, right?
So for sure, the majority of people who are pregnant are cisgender women, and at the same time, we have to acknowledge that trans people and non-binary people do and can become pregnant, and it's really important not to misgender them in law and health because it is really dangerous to them.
You were invited here by my Democratic colleagues today?
That is correct.
Okay.
Kennedy turned to Dennard asking, if you were queen for a day, what abortion restrictions would you set? Dennard focused on shared decision-making, not specific limits. Kennedy pressed, so, no restrictions? Dennard said she trusted women to decide. For more coverage like this, hit subscribe and join us at Capitol Conservatives.
Dr. Dennard, if you were queen for a day, what restrictions, if any, would you place on abortion?
Well, if I was queen for a day, I would use shared decision-making between myself and my patients so I could take really, really good care of them.
So you don't think there ought to be any restrictions?
You know, that's not really how abortion care works. We need to be able
Yes, ma'am,
to
but I'm
take
trying to
care.
understand your position first. Do you support any restrictions on abortion?
I support my patients, I trust women, and I know that they're going to make the right decision for themselves.
Okay.
Kennedy bluntly asked if Texas should erase its abortion restrictions. Rivera said yes, she'd allow abortion without limits. Kennedy turned to the audience frustrated, saying their belief is clear, no restrictions.
And you were invited here today by the Democrats?
Correct.
Okay. Professor Sneed, Well, let me back up. I don't have much time left. How would you change Texas law? Are you suggesting that Texas should adopt a law that's saying there should be no restrictions on abortion?
Are you asking me?
Yes, ma'am.
If I could change Texas's laws, I would be able to take care of my patients if they're in need without restriction.
Kennedy pressed Dennard about late-term abortions. She fired back, saying he was describing a situation that doesn't exist. Kennedy replied, "You're wrong, and you know it." Dennard admitted she hadn't performed abortions but cared for miscarriage patients. As time ran out, both sides stood firm. Kennedy accused dodging, witnesses claimed misrepresentation.
I just find it extraordinary that neither you nor Ms. Rivera are willing to say what you believe, which is clearly that you don't think there ought to be any restrictions on abortion. You think it's okay. You want society to adopt a rule that says if a healthy mother with a healthy child wants to have an abortion, maybe she wants a different gender the day before birth, that's okay.
Senator,
you both seem, it's clear that's what you believe. Why won't you say it?
with all due respect, I've been to medical school. I've done multiple years of training, delivered babies and done thousands of surgeries for over a decade. And you're describing a clinical situation that just doesn't exist, Senator.
No, ma'am, you're wrong. You're wrong, and you know I'm wrong. Do you perform abortions, doctor?
I am not an abortion provider.
Okay. Have you ever done an abortion?
I have never done an abortion, but I take care of my patients who are actively having miscarriages.
Okay. I think I'm over. Thank you for your indulgence, Mr. Chairman.
This fiery exchange shows why abortion remains one of America's most explosive debates. Kennedy demands clear restrictions, while witnesses refuse to concede any limits. Should abortion have restrictions, or be unrestricted? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more from Capitol Conservatives.